stand by, brother. All right, welcome everybody to UCY.TV. I'm Vince Easley, your host, right here on What Matters Worldwide. I got Mikey Indigo for my guest tonight. That's going to be an awesome, awesome show. Some really great information and some stuff that might scare some people. But anyways, hey, big shout out to Brandon Turbeville. Truth on the Tracks right here on UCY.TV, Monday nights and rebroadcast on Friday. He's also a writer at Activist Post. So if you're interested in what's going on up there with this plane in Russia and so forth, check him out. He's doing a lot of writing on that, a lot of research right now. Big shout out to Walter. He and I will be on Saturday. I say there's chemtrails, quote, quote, and he says they ain't. So let's see how that goes. We're gonna be civil though, because I don't debate. Big shout out with Keeper of the Republic, Dave Everest, the Roaring Bear, Miner Dave. He's going to be on with Colby coming up in the second hour. Dadgum Anon says my link doesn't work. Go to Brandon Turbeville. Look for him on Facebook, and you will find him. Also, just do a web search, a search engine. And so tonight, I title this, and I take this out of a quote from Mikey. It says, "My problem is that I have always had a curious nature and a thirst for knowledge." Me too, I say. And this is where we're going to begin our conversation tonight as Mikey and I discuss his first novel and the state of the world with some of life's pondering questions on how we should then live according to the rules and those that rule us. And again, in the second hour, Miner Dave and Colby Olson will continue their talk on Agenda 21. So Mikey's book, you can find him, Mikey Indigo, on Facebook. Rise of the Indigo is his page there. Also, look for him on WordPress, Rise of the Indigo, and you can find this book one in PDF. They're free for you to read. And me not believing in putting off for tomorrow what I can put off for the day after, I finished the read-up last night. I've been doing also some other research on this. Very interesting topic. And welcome, Mikey. I'd like to dedicate this show to your mom and dad and your brother in your honor.
Oh, thanks a lot. You can hear me?
I can. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. This is, I gotta admit, I haven't been on the radio for a while. I didn't tell you. I used to do a little bit of radio, nothing major, but I haven't been on in a while, so hopefully this goes well. Hello?
Oops, absolutely. I missed hitting my unmute there. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, welcome everybody in chat. I don't know if you've dropped in there. I don't know if you can do that because you're on phone on your on Skype, and so I don't know if that you're able to do both. But if you are, drop in and say hello to everyone.
Right. Well, now I'll try. Right now I'm on Skype, so I'm trying to get into the flow of things, and then when I get relaxed enough, then I can try and transfer over what's popping in the chat room.
Awesome. Now, this will archive to MP3 right after the broadcast for those of you listening downstream there or on YouTube. Or if you're listening now and would like to download this, moms probably, huh? It'll be available immediately here on ucy.tv/WMW for What Matters Worldwide. Hi, Becky. Also, it'll upload to YouTube here in probably just a few short hours. And I will add all the links there for your stuff also, which will be included on, be included in the comments there on ucy.tv is the user. Just do a search for ucy.tv. And there, Mr. Ocelli, just previous here for the Ocelli Effect with Dylan Wade as our guest. So there's my stumbling over my tongue in...
It's your show, so I figure, hey, let him take it for a while.
There's that's you, Steve Wilson, Mikey Indigo. Steve Wilson Steve Wilson posted Mikey Indigo.
Oh yeah, no. Shout out to Steve. Steve's been. I've only known Steve for about a couple of months, maybe about 3 months, maybe about that time. But he's a cool dude. Likes a lot of the stuff that I've been studying for a while, and. I just want to make a point right here, right now, Vince. I don't claim to know everything. I'm on a journey just like everybody else. So I find some things that I think may or may not be true. I have been fooled before. I can admit that I have been fooled in many ways. But then you live and learn and you move on because something's going on that people really should know about.
Absolutely. And, where we may disagree in some things, I think that's of least importance as far as what we do agree upon. And
do we get the disagreements out of the way now, or you want to do them later?
I don't even know if we'll get to disagreements personally. And as far as I'd be willing to bet, we will probably, you and I would probably want to be doing more than just this one show in the near future. So.
Of course. I actually see another show in the future. That would be a very good thing.
Absolutely. So let me see here if I can roll back to some of my sketchy notes here. I would like to. I'd like to say that I find myself on the same journey as you. You and I both have very curious minds and.
Right.
But we like to search out the whole of the picture. So, in effect, we are in a search of ourselves and that which is around us. And your book, I really, really enjoyed it. We was talking earlier, and I said, yeah, I kind of look at it as a Hardy Boys meets Alien Predator, E.T., and Monsters, Inc.
Right. I remember you told me that earlier. But you got to understand something. The Art Chronicles actually was a mistake. I was just thinking about, I swear to you, I was thinking of franchises. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Hunger Games, Twilight, those things. I was like, what if I created a franchise? I mean, just to throw it out there. Like, you know what? I don't know if it would have been successful or not. I wouldn't know if it would have flopped or not. But the fact of the matter is, I was like, let me just throw it out there because I think it would be fun and maybe it'd be a different approach to trying to get the truth out.
Yeah, you've done a fine job. I really enjoy it. Some of the things that you've covered in there is something that's near and dear here at UCY, especially Jules in the morning. She talks a lot about transhumanism, microchips,
really?
DNA manipulation. Yeah, Jules is our owner here at the network. She's put this all together herself. Big thanks, right. Jules. Also, I'd like to I miss giving a shout out to Phyllis Sinclair. She previously had the intro here at last, and I'm forever grateful to her. Check her out, phyllissinclair.com. She's beautiful.
Well, no, I'm always looking to find out more and more about the transhumanism agenda because, like I said, I still think I only just scratched the surface. There's just so much information out there that people, if they took the time to sit down and like actually peruse through the information, you'd be like, wow, it would change the way you look at the world now. Maybe a little bad because, listen, I went there. I talked about one thing. I mentioned it in the intro of the book, Our Chronicles. I said that I started off being politically aware. And that's pretty much the hardest stage to get through because you're afraid of everything. You're afraid of communism, you're afraid of New World Order, martial law, gun confiscation, everything. So I was spewing it out there like as if the world was going to end. Yeah. But then I took the time to think about that. Nobody cared. It was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, sure. Now maybe 2 years later, maybe people say, okay, maybe there's something going on, but I am not really that sure. But then it got to the time where I thought nobody cared, so I was like saying, why should I care? You know what I'm saying?
I expect many others, especially that are on radio, have had that very, very same thought, and probably daily. I know for a fact that I do. But nevertheless, I think I do this mostly for myself. It's kind of, writing chapters here in books and, paragraphs and topics and so forth in a discussion, which I think is most important, that we have a dialogue and let's seek those points where we agree, because I certainly do believe that we can all agree that something's not quite right. So it's such a wide spectrum that sometimes we get off on our tangents and, our pride kind of locks us into an archaic belief or even, what I like to call notions and, ideas and so forth that I think it's all worth talking about, and I think we can find strength through our diversity and unite at that point, because at the very core is what is right and good, and I think it can be summed up with love, and that's probably the most powerful emotion that one might have.
Right. And one reality, and it was hard for me too, but it took maybe a couple of years to understand the whole we're all one theory. Put it this way, I do believe that, but I don't believe in the physical sense. Obviously, as you can see, it's not that way. But if you think about it, the physical is an illusion. I know that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. But even movies like The Matrix told you this. You just had to pay attention. If you didn't pay attention, you got lost in the shuffle, and you're like, hey, good movie.
Right.
So if you think about it, like you got to read between the lines with these movies. I put it this way: there's movies I've watched in the past as a kid. I watched them again as an adult and got a whole different entire meaning out of it. Like, and The Matrix was one of them. I was a teenager when The Matrix came out, so I was like, hey, cool, yeah, he's slow motion, dodging bullets, everything like that. He can fly. But in the end, there was a deeper meaning that if you caught it, it spoke to you.
Now, I just read a book. I just finished one that I've really been looking forward to finishing, getting a hold of, and I read it this last week by Daniel Lewis Crompton, and it's called Then Came the Flood, and I look forward to an upcoming interview with him. Fantastic book. It goes back before the flood of Noah, and it talks about Nephilim and kind of crossing and species that these fallen angels had used some DNA manipulation, some transhumanism in a way, and created bodies that they procreated with the daughters of men. And
it's funny. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you said genetic manipulation. That was in the past. The same thing is happening now with these RFID chips. Now, I'm not claiming to know everything about it, but here's what I can pick up. It goes under your skin. Whether it's on the forehead or the right hand may or may not be the truth, but I can't really comment fully on that and think that I'm absolutely right about it. But it's the same thing. It's a manipulation, and it's an unnatural manipulation. Instead of letting humans naturally evolve, they're using technology to do it. This is why the whole technology thing. Now, don't get me wrong. We're using technology now, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite. One thing that you're going to probably hear me repeat over and over again is I will not be hypocritical, because there's some things that I'm still working on. I never claim to be perfect. I never claim to know it all. I think I know enough to where I can at least speak on it in the basic sense. But other than that, unless people ask me for the deeper meaning of it, that's the only time I'll tell them. Otherwise, I'll just leave it alone. Everybody has to take their own journey.
Absolutely. There's no way that some things can be proven, by just hands-on science here. There's some things like spiritual or perhaps aliens or whatever that is beyond our scope to actually present to another person and give a credible case. So we do have a lot of speculation, and speculation is good because if you're a searcher.
It piques the interest, I think it does. Whether it's false or true or not, information is information. If you read it, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. Like I hear this whole thing with the occult. It's evil. It's satanic. But I've learned a lot of things from the occult that are very interesting, and I would say that I'm not an evil person.
Right? Nor would I. I've sure done some dirty deeds in my life, and through life experience,
you all have.
I've what might be called repented of. So.
Mm-hmm.
Something I find very fascinating is vibration and frequency, and
right.
we know about Tesla technology and the magnetic field of the Earth. I mean, energy is all around us, and energy and matter and all that exists because of vibration. The Bible says, God said, and it came into being. He spoke words to bring into creation.
Right.
So I think science now shows that we are a product of vibration, and there's some natural rhythms, and then there's some unnatural rhythms like cell phones,
Wi-Fi.
Yep, Wi-Fi, the smart meters.
Too, it does help. But Wi-Fi, that's the double-edged sword of Wi-Fi. You need it when you to get information out, at least for the time being, until you learn to develop the abilities that you get when you do evolve. And then the technology part of it, like the Wi-Fi.
Right.
But when it comes down to when it comes to vibration, it took me a while to kind of understand the vibration. So it is a feeling thing. It's not a thinking thing. And one thing people know about me is that I do a lot of thinking. The fact of the matter is I've always liked knowledge, so knowledge leads to a lot of thinking. You start questioning everything. I question at least I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 25 things a day. And some of them are trivial, some of them are very deep. But I always question.
Who was it that the White Rabbit that said he thinks of many impossible things every day, something like that?
Right. But the thing is, there's a message in that, because we create things with our thoughts. Now, this is not new information. I'm not saying I'm the one, but I understand that. Everything starts out as a thought. You have to think about it before you put it. I had to think about the Arconicals before I had to put it on paper, before I had to put it out there to the public. Everything starts with a thought, and all is mind. First Hermetic principle.
That's very good. Yeah, beginning with thought, and then the spoken word again has great power. And couple that with prayer, we see like water, memory when Beethoven's played as opposed to some like heavy metal or something. The flash freeze of the water crystals, is beautiful compared to chaotic and ruptured when you might say hey over water. As opposed to love, and have the same result. It's very fascinating that these vibrations do have an effect, and like you said, they do start in the mind with the thought. Jesus said that the fact of the mere lusting is adultery, as well as the committing of the act itself. So very fascinating. Again, now I'm doing a lot of references to the Bible and Jesus and God and stuff like that, and you like to refer to God as an infinite creator. You see religion in reality as having been used as a tool against mankind, and I agree with that 100%. So,
and I felt that way for a while, even as a kid. See, the funny thing about childhood is you go in knowing things, but you don't really know how to express it because you are a child. You just want to run around and play in the flowers and roll around in the grass and play basketball and do things like that. Hey, I was a kid too. But the fact of the matter is, we do have to grow up sometimes. But after a while, you kind of lose that connection to enjoying life. One thing about me is that I'll admit right here, there's two things I still have to work on before I make any real progress. And one of them I really had to come to terms with just last night. That one is my fear of rejection. I don't like rejection. I can deal with it, but deep down you're like, damn, I hate being rejected. So, that's one thing. And there's a mild thing. The other one is, I would have to say, at times, it has been a lot less, I do worry about what people do say about me sometimes. Because I've always been sensitive. Nothing to say about that. Like, kids are sensitive. They come into the world with, over emotions sometimes. So, I started off, and I have to say, in a way, I've evolved myself because, as a kid, I was always soft. But as I grew up, especially at this age now, I've become a lot harder.
Yeah, you're going to be...
I still always have my kind streak because, I go into everybody gets angry sometimes. That's why Brian Bordello came in. People who follow this site know about Brian Bordello. So I won't talk much about him, but just to make a long story short with Brian Bordello, I posed him as my dark side. Just a character I made up. He kind of goes on the angry side of getting the truth out. But regardless of what he says, listen to the deeper meaning that he says. He points out what the wrong path humanity's going into. We're greedy, we're selfish, we kill each other. We let people tell us how to think, and we don't think for ourselves. Things like that. So all I would say is, as long as you don't hurt anybody, and as long as you can live in harmony with everybody else, that's the only thing that matters. Why are we at war? And I know everybody, even if you're just semi-awake, everybody's asked, why the hell are we at war? And not just America, everywhere. Like, everybody's... wasn't, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you... I just happened to follow it for a second, Vince. But did you see, just today, they said something happened in Malaysia and Ukraine? Did you happen to catch that?
Yeah, I opened up the show talking about that a little bit, and I would check Brandon Turberville's activist post for good, credible information. He's an incredible researcher and a tireless reporter and writer. So trust the source.
I just wanted to make something clear. Put it this way. It sparked my interest for a second, but it took me about, 7 seconds to turn it off. Because, I have now, at this point in time, I can't even really focus on politics anymore. It's just, some of it is depressing. Most of it is pointless, if not all of it. But I just cannot, it really repels me now. I used to be politically involved, in political news for a few years when I started waking up. It started political, and then it went into the David Icke situation, which I kind of retracted back and forth with that. I was like, I don't know if I was ready to accept that. But then you grow and you live long enough and you notice, wow, maybe there is something to this. Like I said, nobody has the 100% truth, but it's out there somewhere.
I think. Hey, if anything happens, I'm fixing to add myself to the call so I can get up and walk around my phone. So if we drop off, if Skype's not acting crazy, I'll re-add us. So hopefully this is not going to be a problem. Here we go. Well, shoot. How you like that? I guess it did hang up. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what the deal is. I added myself, called in and added, and it appears that we did lose this. So let me go get Mikey back. Crap.
Hello? Hello?
Man, I don't know. I guess it hung me up. I answered my own call. I added two, so crap. I was going to get up and go walking around.
Oh, you still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're back on now.
Oh, we're on now? Okay, sorry, people. That was technical difficulties. Probably my fault, not sure, but...
No, that was me. I called in with my cell phone. I added to call group, and it dropped us. So,
any idea what the call was about?
That was me calling in. I was going to get up and walk around with my telephone.
What? Oh, okay, got you. Oh, all right, no problem.
Yeah.
But I'm back on that. So I kind of forgot what we were talking about because I know you put me on hold, so I figured maybe adding a caller or something like that.
I was adding myself, and it appears there's not enough of me to go around, so I'm back here on the mic.
But I got a text from my mom saying that I'm talking too loud. So if that is true, please let me know. I will try to bring my voice down, or maybe not talk so close to my tablet that I'm using to speak into this thing. But
maybe I was low. I noticed my microphone was kind of covered just a little bit, so maybe that. Well, Kobe says that you're screaming into my. I don't know. I thought you sounded loud and clear, as Anon said. So.
All right. So I'm trying to pull the tablet a little further away from me. If I'm still talking loud, just let me know. I will try to adjust it as we go along.
Okay. Well, how's that, folks?
Yeah, let us know. But anyway, I'm trying to think where I pick up where I left off. Do you remember? Because I'm sorry, I'm really kind of losing.
Oh, man, that sucks. I hate the Skype has been messing up on a lot of people lately for some reason. So I did take the chance of doing that, and turns out I probably don't need to go out in the casinos of Vegas tonight. We were back at Vibrations and talking about that and transhumanism and stuff.
Right. Now the thing is, the transhuman thing took me a while, and I was really debating whether I should try to write this article or not. And I just decided I wrote it, but it took a little time before I decided to publish it. So I thought about it. I just kind of did my little editing and bang, just put it up, see how it caught hold. Apparently, it appeared on David Wilcock's Divine Cosmos site at one point, and I didn't even know someone added it, and then I just started getting a lot of people reading that one. So to this day, that's probably that one and the one about Saturn. The Saturn saga continues on Rise of the Indigo.
Cool.
Wow, I got a couple of chats. My mom again, sorry. But
okay, that's okay. Hi, moms.
Hi. But no. When it comes down to it, there are. Well, I lost track. I'm sorry, I lost track again.
That's fine.
But actually, no. We were talking about. Yeah, I really did forget. I'm sorry. I really did forget what we were talking about because I'm reading a message right now.
It does it to me too. I'm sitting here typing and talking.
Yeah, that just breaks your concentration. Like, okay, I'm on a roll or something, and all of a sudden, ding, and then all of a sudden, okay. So like, what was I talking about again? I was reading, and I didn't mean to. But
we was talking about. I'm typing. Boom. I was responding to. Nick Brannigan, I heard, I was listening to him earlier before Chuck Ocelli came on, and he had Brandon Tuberville on his show. He's on the Natural News. So anyways, hey, Nick, shout out to you. He also has a organic foods here in Las Vegas. So anybody in Vegas...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to get this point out because this happens a lot. But there's something I want to speak on. I swear I'll make this brief, but I think people really got to get informed about GMOs. This is not a what do you call those things? Not a commercial, but a
conspiracy.
A PSA. No, a service announcement.
Yes, a public service. As a matter of fact, that's what he and Brandon were talking about was GMOs and the glyphosides in Roundup Ready crops and so forth like that. Very good show today. Normally, I'm always right here listening to UCY, but every once in a while I get a chance to jump out and listen to somebody else, and especially somebody like Brandon Tuberville, incredible journalist and very credible. So,
right.
Yes. Go ahead.
But the whole thing about GMOs is, put it this way, at one point in time we were eating it for a period of time and did not know it. So we can never say none of us has ever eaten one GMO. Like the thing is, sometimes, like being in New York, it's kind of hard to find a lot of organic stuff without paying out the booty for it.
Right.
So, I try to get what I can, but I've been trying to switch to more organic stuff. And I'm really trying to eliminate meat. I have to be honest. It is a little tough for me, but I am getting through it. Don't worry. I will do it. I will make it. You have my word on that.
I intend to... I was a vegan at one time and intend to return to that, maybe. I think on a spiritual level, I think... It makes a lot more sense not to, consume the flesh of other creatures. I believe in the beginning, we were vegetarians, even not just, not eating salads and stuff like that, but we ate seeds, and fruits. And
well, the argument for that was that humans had flat teeth, while the meat eaters only were supposed to have sharp teeth. So, like, with our flat teeth, they weren't designed to eat meat, even though I think I got at least one sharp tooth.
Well, that's a fallacy in itself, because we can see that dinosaurs that were, supposedly carnivores were probably vegetarians in the beginning. We see examples in modern day, like the panda that eats bamboo. They have, teeth like a bear. The fruit bat. There's even hummingbirds that have teeth. So teeth is not indicative of original diet.
Right. Like I said, I don't claim to be right about everything. I didn't necessarily. I wasn't sure. I just know I've heard that before. I wasn't even really sure myself. But like I said, you never know. You learn something new every day. I put it this way. Here's something I want to bring up. I make it my business to learn. I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 new things a day. It does wonders.
Absolutely.
But so try to just do it for yourself. Just one day, just think about like 15 things you never thought about. Learn about them, and see how much how that makes a difference in your life. It really does.
Well, I think we have an obligation and a duty to question ourselves on our sacred beliefs. And
right.
Walter Solvener is in chat right now. He's on the Solvener event here on Saturday morning. Starts at he's actually the second show. Jeff Wefferson. He starts out Saturday early. But anyways, Walter and I will be on together with a little friendly discussion. But he has given me great, a lot of times that I have to be able to give an explanation for what it is I'm saying, He ain't the type of guy to just let people use blanket statements and get away with it,
But anyway, one of the messages that came up, was someone from, they said they didn't want me to mention their name, but they hit me up on Facebook. They wanted me to say as briefly as possible to describe the divine dreamer theory. And I know who it is, they like it broken down simple. Basically, it's stating that the simple as I can make it, and don't call me a blasphemer, I'm just telling you what I believe it could be. It's that we are, as humanity and every living thing on earth, everything on earth, is God, and that the vibration is more of a dream state. That's why it's called an illusion. So when we're held in that dream state, we forget who we are. When we know who we are and we actually believe it within our fiber of our being, we start to portray that. We start to feel like, wow, I feel like I can do anything now. It does work, and let me tell you, it's a process, and it is not perfect for me right now. But I can vouch for the fact that there is a such thing as creating your own reality. You can create a bad one or a good one. I mentioned that 2012 was a bad year for me. And it was, but it's over now. But I just learned from that because I realized that's the reality I was creating when I was living in fear, talking about, New World Order, martial law. It was really, that's where the friend losing process started. This was like, I don't want to deal with him. This is all he talks about. But it felt like something important to me. But I figured, listen, I can't back away from it, because if this really is going on, people got to know about it. I know people are tired of hearing, so I kind of slowed down on that and look for, is there a way out besides, shooting each other to death in a possible World War III situation? So the way I look at it is that what is the best way to probably end this scam overnight? Non-compliance. All you have to do is just don't do anything for the ones that are trying to enslave you. If someone is trying to kill you or enslave you or do something that you don't want to do or take your children from you, are you going to let it happen, or are you going to say, no, I ain't going to do what you say? You want to do that, and you want me to do what you say? Does that make any sense? If you think about it that way, does it make any sense?
Well, yeah, people do create their own reality, don't they?
Right. But the point, what I'm asking you if it makes sense, is that the people don't pay attention to what's going on, and then after a while, they, put it this way, I just don't want it to be too late. If enough people know, then we got a chance. Mark Passio said something about when people stop joining the military, or when people stop becoming police officers, then that's when the awakening really is going to have an effect. Now, so people go into these things, military, serve your country, protect the people. If you were thinking, and I'm speaking to the ones who are thinking about being police officers or thinking about joining the military, don't do it. It's like, don't do it. It's not worth it, because you're going to end up doing something that's not for you. You could lose your life. And if you don't lose your life, you could lose a limb, or you could have a lot of problems. And when you get back to the country, there is no love. They really do treat veterans bad after they get it. I'm like, wow, that's one of the things that really was a spark when I noticed that, wow, they fought for this country and they're back and they don't do anything for them. They just all right, you fought for our country, thank you. Okay, now go live in the street like a rat. That was really a shake-up for me.
Man, I come across town, let's see, Tuesday. I got out the door about 3 o'clock in the morning to go downtown, get me a bus ticket back home, pre-buy it, so it's cheaper. So I left down about 3 o'clock in the morning. I walked a couple of miles down to Lake Mead to catch the bus, and right as I got there, it went by. So I had an hour to wait for the next one, which is cool because it's, for me, it's the journey and not the destination. And
of course.
That's really cool. The test thing that you hooked me up with earlier, yeah. So I'm an extrovert. You're an introvert, according to you. And so some other stuff's very interesting. I enjoy people. I have no problem walking up and talking to a complete stranger. And
that's where you and I differ, my friend. Because I don't know. Let me just say this. I may speak through the Brian Bordello character like as I hate humanity, but in truth and reality, I can really never hate humanity because, we're all, outside the humanity thing, we're actually infinite awareness, like David Icke said, and as many others have pretty much confirmed, we're consciousness. When you look at it that way, now you're thinking it on another level. It's like I can't go back to thinking the way I was thinking before because now I'm thinking like this, and it's like, wow, I want to think more like this than how I was thinking before.
Now, Brian is a character. We meet him in the Nut House along with the other woman that was an author. She was a researcher, conspiratorialist.
The guy you're talking about is Nick Rogers.
Oh, that's Nick. Yeah, that's Nick.
That's
okay,
Nick.
He was
you
the
like
guy.
Nick, huh?
I thought he was the one always saying how he hates humanity and this and that. And he got where he got left off. He's in 1963.
Yes.
As time is kind of fluctuating. Let's talk some about your book.
Okay.
Where do you intend to go, man? Oh, I guess we can't start there. That's starting at the end of the first one. I can't wait. Yeah, you got.
So I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad I got the perfect reaction for the first. This is the reaction I want for the first book. Once you get to the end, you're like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Wow, we got to wait till 2015 to get to that." Yes, you do. But as I did before,
33.
What happened?
And you'll be 33.
That'll be the third book. That's good. I'm going to release that on my 33rd birthday.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I like to...
October 11th, 2016. That's when the third
October 11th?
Yeah, October 11th, 2016. 33. When I turn 33, I'm releasing the third book. Wow. The second book is going to be August 8th, 2015.
Wow. So, yeah, my son, Vincent Raisley III, his birthday's October 10th, and mine's the 15th.
Right. I run into a lot of October people. Libras everywhere I go. Like, hi, I'm a Libra. Yeah, me too. Hey, nice to meet you.
Cool. But you know what? Back to my trip across town. I left at 3. I got back about 8 o'clock in the morning. I want to go when it wasn't hot. But, man, the people I met on the journey, probably walked about 5 miles or so during, back and forth between the bus and going here and there. And, of course, I was downtown, so I had to go to the Fremont Experience. And so I had a Corona for breakfast at Binion's Horseshoe.
Oh, yum.
I was going to watch a little poker, but nobody was playing, so it was still, I had an enjoyable trip. You know what? I see the degradation and misery in people's faces, especially people on drugs, and I know you and I both have lived that life, too, been out there in the game,
I actually made that, I kind of came out with that, and people say, oh, why did you even mention that? I was like, hey, put it this way, a lot of famous people were on drugs, and people still respected them. Ray Charles did heroin, Hector Lavoe did heroin, put it this way. Nobody is perfect. I will stress that one more time. Nobody is perfect. We all have flaws. we can try to improve on them and do the best we can. This is a live and learn type of setting. That's how I look at 3D reality. It's you live, you learn, and you love. That's what it is. And I know that's like, because that word gets thrown around quite a bit. Love, love, love. But the thing is, when you love someone, it's like, there's no strings attached. It's like you'll help them out no matter what. I'm being tested really in many ways right now. As far as staying in a love vibration.
Hey, we got a call. Listen, if we get hung up, I'm going to try to add him. If we get hung up, I'm going to hang up and I'll re-add us. So hopefully this is going to be okay. Okay. I got dumped, so dadgummit. Now let me add Mikey back in. That was J. Cynthia Brooks calling in, and so I don't know. People call in. I called on myself, and boom, dumped us, and then so J. Cynthia called. Bam, dumped as well. So I don't know what the deal is. Skype has something new going on. Some screwy stuff, screwy doing. Mikey's ringing back. Uh-oh, busy. Doggone it. Shall I try again? Man, I hate that. Come on, where you at? Well, of course. Here we go. Now we'll add them to the call. And it's ringing. Doggone it. Man, this hour is flying through too. I knew Mikey and I were going to have a good conversation. Now we have Mikey back. Sorry, dude.
That's probably my fault.
It's not your fault. It's Skype. They've got something different. When I try to add a cell phone, boom, it's dropping. Drops a call. We're all there, it seems like, but we lose the network. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not good, but maybe somebody smarter than I will figure out our dilemma here.
We're still on, or
yeah? Well, I had to dump the whole thing and then go back into the network and then re-add you again. So, I'm going to take a chance.
The call again?
Pardon?
Did you catch that call? Like, did you find out what they wanted to talk about?
It's J. Cynthia. She's on Cancer Kickers here on Saturday. I produce for her and sometimes co-host. So is what I am going to do is I'm going to attempt to add her, and this is going to be a good test anyways for us.
Third time's a charm, so.
Right. So let's see how this works. And if I hear a boom, I know I got dumped, but it looks like it's working. And J. Cynthia's ringing. Yeah. So I'm not able to accept a call somehow. I'm having to be the one to add. Now we have J. Cynthia. Hello, Jay.
Can you hear me, Vin?
Okay, we're good now. I had to add you for some reason. When I try to add anybody to the call that is calling in, it's dumping the network. So, hey, welcome, J. Cynthia.
Hey, thank you.
So this is something that I knew that you would enjoy, and so hopefully you have some good stuff to weigh in. And Mikey and I are nowhere near going to... we haven't even touched on hardly any subjects that I intended to cover, so Mikey is going to have to be fast.
Hours about this stuff. If the more you learn about it, sometimes it's all I want to talk about, but I understand people don't understand it the way I do. Not everybody's journey is the same. So the fact that I'm trying to tell you something that I learned and you have no idea about it, it took me a while to accept, but it almost kind of defeats the purpose if you're trying to tell them all this information and they haven't got the basics yet. That's one thing I understand is very important. Get them politically aware. They may be scared for a second, but trust me, you pass through it, and then it doesn't mean anything to you at that point.
There you go. Mikey, meet Jay Cynthia. Hi, Jay Cynthia. Welcome.
Hi, thanks so much. Hi, is it Mikey?
Yeah, that's right. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Like I said, we've been juggling this thing. Got dropped twice, but hey, we're back.
Oh, yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, sometimes JJ produces for me. My show is Cancer Kickers on Saturdays at 2 Pacific Standard Time. That's not a plug or anything.
You plug it.
Oh, yeah, of course not. We believe you. But no, actually, I would like to know more about your show. I mean, can you do a quick 1 minute, or it doesn't have to actually be a minute, but like it's somewhere around that range. Can you do a 1 minute description of your show?
I can do less than that. I'm very used to men saying, "Can you do a minute or
less?" And there's the adult humor for the night.
Bum. Well, my show is about alternative medicine. We're going on, 18 years now. Pretty soon, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and with Western medicine, they said if I didn't get chemo, radiation, surgery, cut me to bits, I wouldn't last more than 2 years. They said if they did do it, I still only had a 50-50 chance of survival. I had a very fast-moving cancer, and I went through some things and made this decision to only treat myself alternatively. I know Western medicine whatsoever, and I cured myself within 8 months, completely cancer-free, and have been completely cancer-free ever since. So, yeah, my journey is about helping others now who have the desire to heal themselves with alternative medicine, whether they've done chemo or not. But, yeah, we get, especially for a while there, when JJ was helping me with the show, we would get booted off all the time just because there's definitely some big organizations out there that don't want anybody to know that you don't have to spend $400,000 on chemo just to make yourself sicker, that there's very, very simple, and there's a plethora of ways to cure yourself of cancer. I've got AIDS patients completely cured, multiple sclerosis, the list goes on and on and on, and every day in my journey, leukemia, I got a ton. Leukemia is so easy to cure. And so every day in my journey, whoever comes to me with a new ailment, I have a huge team now of alternative medicine people, and that really covers the gamut, everything from the physicists to the spiritualists and everything in between, kinesiologists, whatnot. But I have a huge team now, so nothing that's thrown to us is uncurable unless that spirit is choosing to drop their body. Then that's their choice, and we respect it. So that's kind of what my show is about.
Oh, all right. More than a minute, but still, I was interested, so it actually worked out. But no.
Were you timing me? Were you timing me?
Not really, but I did know you went over a minute. But it's all good, though. I mean,
Talk about
JJ. I've heard that before.
Talk about JJ. Look, and here he shows up in chat. Yo, brother. JJ's great. Awesome guy. He's on Sunday mornings here on UCY.TV. Lots of great programming here. Lots and lots. So
I have to check out the station now. This is the first time I heard about it, I'm being honest right now. But I would actually like to check out her show because, put it this way, there's one thing, because I did a little research on chemotherapy, and you're right, Jay. The chemotherapy business, I heard 300,000, but 400,000 I wouldn't be surprised too, especially with inflation. But another thing is chemotherapy only has a 3% success rate. I don't know if people know that.
Yeah, well, myself and Ian Jacqueline, we're putting out the word that, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, wow, see? And the thing is, I know people that swear by chemotherapy. It's like, oh, yeah, this is working. I was like, yeah, it's working, you all right. But the fact of the matter is, a 3% success rate, if you still think those shit, like, would you put a bet on something you got a 3% chance of winning?
So, yo, I'm in Vegas, baby. What's happening now?
See, we have little references throughout the show. I'll point them out when they manifest.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and that's my point, and just really the greatest weapon that we have, actually. I'm not trying to attack anybody, and for some people, chemotherapy did work, and I support that, but I'm just trying to spread the information that with alternative medicine, we've got a 97% cure rate. So, and then using Ripe technology, that we did a whole show on that, Ripe technology, supposedly that's a 100% cure rate. So, you know what I mean? It's just about getting the information out there. There's so much suppression from big pharma and the politicians and the pharmaceutical companies. So we're just bit by bit, Sometimes it feels like trying to crack a piece of cement with a toothpick, but I just keep spouting away and get the word out so people just, at least they know, so they can make an informed decision about how they want to deal with their own health, which every person, I think, deserves.
Right. Well, what about your stance on marijuana being a treatment or a cure for cancer? How do you stand on that? Because people, I've heard, it seems like a 50-50 thing, maybe 60-40. But just so you know, I'm on the 60%, which I personally believe that marijuana has medicinal benefits. As a cure, I can't say for sure, but I know that it has medicinal benefits.
I would like to jump in on that. Smoking weed ain't curing nothing except for maybe some people's anxiety and things like that. But when you get into curing, JJ has covered this very, very well with Rick Simpson and the Phoenix Tears. The cannabis oil as cures. And is what you're doing is reducing it down to oil. You steep the cannabinoids out, the CBDs and so forth out with alcohol, reducing it down with like in a rice cooker to a tar consistency of black toothpaste. And right. People start out with pea-sized drops. Now, also, the body in the pH balance, when it's off, when you're acidic, you have an environment that's conducive for cancer. So with Jacynthia, she didn't even know anything about weed being used for cures. I know in the beginning, and what she did was actually correcting her pH by juicing mainly. Is that not correct, Jacynthia?
Yeah, it's hysterical. Ian Jacklin has the most fun with this because 18 years ago, there was no such thing as an alkaline diet. We didn't know what that was. I just worked with different physicists, and Mikey, I think you're going to love this too. I say this a lot on my show. I don't know if you know this, but the physicists are in direct disagreement with Western medicine.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Primarily because the foundation is that Western medicine still to this day is claiming that the body is chemical first and electromagnetic second. And the physicists are in direct disagreement with that. You are electromagnetic first and chemical second. So exactly. I went to the physicists. They were just making more common sense to me back in that day, and there wasn't the internet and all this stuff. There was an internet, but barely. So I had to get in the car on the road and go from physicist to physicist, and I started putting all these things together. So what we were doing was the diet, which is not just diet, it's mind, body, and spirit. I educated myself, changed my belief system, body got on a specific diet of mostly juicing, spiritual work, the meditation, the emotional work, what was I doing to myself and surrounding myself emotionally that was making a 32-year-old girl who had not booming, but okay career, and everybody thought I had it going on, and I'm like ready to drop dead. But yeah, to answer your question, Vinny, I was just a tremendous amount of juicing, and we called it cleansing the cells, quote unquote. But what I was doing, and I didn't know it at the time, was raising my, pH levels because cancer can't live. It's just physics. Again, cancer cannot live in a 7.2 environment when your pH levels are up to 7.2. I don't know what my pH levels were back then. We did it a whole different way. It's thought now when you're hanging out at 5.0 or 4. It's not great. Doesn't mean you're going to get cancer. You need the emotional trauma and the mental trauma to induce a specific disease. But if you're acidy like that, you are kind of providing not just cancer, all kinds of, different problems, a lot of blood fungus, a tremendous amount of candida all the time. And just as the note, there is some rare blood cancers. When your pH levels of alkaline go way up into the 9s, there is some rare blood cancers that we know so far that can occur in a hugely alkaline environment in your body. Again, so we're talking about balance again. You want to hang out at 7.2 around there somewhere for optimal, environment. And so that, when you do have the trauma of some kind of emotional, bomb dropping on you, your body is ready to be able to fight when your immune system takes a hit.
Absolutely. Right. I'd like to give props to Ian Jacklin. iCureCancer.com. Do your web engine search there and find him. Mikey, I'm going to be hooking you up with some pages that Jules here at UCY maintains for some great information. I'm also going to be doing some friend suggestions with you and Jay Cynthia for one, and Ian and JJ. I'll tell you what, everybody over here has a little different notions. Nobody has the same ideas, but one thing we do agree upon is that basic right for people to live and to live free.
That's the life they want to live. Mikey, you would love us over here, man. We're all a bunch of renegades. We're a bunch of crazy renegade rebels, and rebels in different way, but we all do believe in freedom and freedom of information, which, is not the case in this country right now.
Well, don't worry. I like you already. And second, hey, I couldn't agree more. Like, the fact of the matter is, humans always thought they were free, but they've never really, truly been free. And I think that's the thing that kind of, makes people a little bit nervous. Some are very freaked out by it, but some are like, I don't know if I can do this. The thing is, I was kind of in that way too, but you kind of get pushed towards it when you see what's happening on the other side. It's like, maybe I'll go over there. Maybe I'll go over there a little more. Like, until you're out. So then, like, once you're out, it's like, okay, that's behind me now.
I'd like to add from chat, people, the hemp oil is expensive, and because of this legal thing, Becky, she doesn't believe in legalization, nor do I, because legalization puts it in the hands of these people that have kept us crippled and shackled all throughout history, like you're talking about. These people that can control society. That now legalization of a plant. Come on, how do you even have it illegal to start with?
Well, that's the thing I was going to bring up. I was like, something that grows out of the ground, you're making it illegal? I was like, wasn't that trees? Yeah. I'm talking about actually not the slang name for marijuana. I'm talking about actual trees that would bark and leaves and stuff. Those trees. Like, what? Especially, I'm glad I actually mentioned trees, because did you hear that now they're trying to do genetically modified trees now?
Yes, I have.
GMO trees.
Yeah.
GMO trees, people.
Well, they already exist, and in a sense, when we breed specifically, we are manipulating the plants themselves. So the fact that people cross-pollinate, they selectively breed is not quite the same as GMOing, genetically modifying an organization, which is actually gene splicing, and you're using viruses or bacteria to carry this stuff over into the strands there, to translate this where it can be used as a vehicle to attach. So it's very dangerous, and it goes well beyond that. Now we're adding toxins in, and gut problems are the biggest problem going on, and that's probably from the BT products, the Bacillus thuringiensis.
What things we got to do is actually going on in area, like, it's already in Europe, and it started slowly happening in places in America. People are banning fluoride. I can't if there's one thing that you take out of this whole interview that I've had here with Vince, there's one thing you should know. Fluoride is not a good thing. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. That's the one thing I had to get out. I was like, if you can't remember anything, anytime somebody mentions fluoride, it's bad. Stay away. If you can, stay away from it. Listen, I'm in New York City, it's kind of, you're hit with fluoride everywhere. And it's not just New York City. I'm just saying, that's where I'm at. So, I know how hard it is to try to maintain this kind of, composure when you're in a city of people, that can really get to you sometimes. I've been in New York, pretty much all my life, so I know what it's like. Take this from someone I can say who's a real New Yorker.
Well, what's interesting about that, going back to the 60s, for the women out there, the doctors were telling my mother, she did it with my sister and not with me, drinking extra fluoride water, and one of my best friends, Corinne Harding, who I love, shout out to her, her mother did it, and their teeth, when they were born, their teeth came out gray, like a dark gray. Do you guys know about that?
Well, I don't, I have actually seen that before. That's crazy. But they say, fluoride. I have an article, not to hawk the page again, but Rise of the Indigo, on the page, I have an article called Outlaw Fluoride. I put even a couple of videos on there showing news reports about how they're actually speaking in favor of fluoride. They had someone from the American Dental Association say, fluoride's a good thing. And I'm like, really? You're really going to go? And then the thing is, they throw it in your face that, like, look at all the bottled water. Like, not all the bottled waters. But if you go in the store, you'll see they'll even tell you it has fluoride in it. Now, how brutal is that? How in your face is that? They're actually telling you, yeah, there's fluoride in it, but go ahead and drink it anyway. The sad part is people do.
Yeah, the general population still doesn't, I think, or a huge number of the population doesn't know, because it's been programmed since the 60s and probably beyond that, well, I know into the 50s that fluoride's supposed to be good for you and good for your teeth. There's so much fluoride toothpaste, blah, 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 blah. So that was programmed probably by our dear friends, in the 30s who, Vinny, you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. I think I know, too.
So listen, this has really just flown right on by, as I knew that it would. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to bring Colby Olson and Miner Dave Everest in, and they're going to continue their talk from last week, discussing Agenda 21, which I think is a topic that you're also interested in. Jay Cynthia, thanks so much. I love you. I will see you on the radio Saturday. And,
well, we'll talk tomorrow. And
yes.
Thank you so much for letting me jump in.
You bet. Give that action. Stand by, Colby. Mikey.
Yes.
Rise of the Indigo on WordPress. Rise of the Indigo on Facebook. Mikey Indigo on Facebook. You and I are going to have to do this again because we didn't get started.
Any place. It's fun.
Right on. I really appreciate you.
I realized this is actually a lot of fun. Not only was this a lot of fun, but time went so quickly. Just like you said, I was like, "Whoa, it's 9? It can't be 9. It's 9."
Uh-huh. Jay Cynthia, thanks again. And Jay Cynthia, let's see. Give your sites. You've got a few of them. What's the best one to find you at? Facebook. Jay Cynthia Brooks. Valaro. There's some more.
Jay Cynthia Brooks, House of Healing, or on Facebook, or House of Healing, Jay Cynthia, either way. And also Jay Cynthia Brooks Official on Facebook is a good way to find me. And also if you go to Ian Jacquelin's website, icurecancer.com, which there's a ton of great, it's ridiculous how much great information. You can always email Ian, my secretary, and I'm going to hear it about that one. He can get you in contact with me as well, and my radio show and Vinny's radio show Saturdays 2:00 in the afternoon Pacific Daylight Time. Cancer Kickers here on UCY TV as well. Thank you, Vinny.
Awesome, love you, girl. And I'm headed back to Arkansas next month, but hey, if you get that with HBO. I'm going to drop what I'm doing in a hot second and be out there to L.A. And Hollywood with you as quick as I can get there, and that'll be a hot second, girl.
The discussions are going on. I've got a number of different. So do your best to stall, not to go to Arkansas, because the season's going to be picking up, and a lot of people are very interested in HBO. We've got some angels over at HBO that told me they'll do anything they can to support, what I'm trying to do. So, stall, Vinny, stall.
Well, I ain't kidding. I'll be back in a minute. I ain't going to travel around with 100 and some odd pounds with me next time. I'm packing light, and I'm going to be light on my toes when I get there. So then you and I and Ian can go out on the town, and y'all can show me around. I ain't been to LA in quite a while.
Oh yeah, well we can definitely show you around more than you probably want to see.
I doubt that. All right, love, girl. Mikey, thanks again, brother. We've got Colby and Miner Dave on standby, and they're going to take it away. Now, Mikey, you're welcome to stay in here and. You can listen in. You can maybe jump in with these fellas on a little bit of Agenda 21 if you'd like.
I have an interesting thing on that too. So if you don't mind, I'll stick around.
Okay. Now, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit mute, and I'm going to unplug, and I'm going to go kick this dog out here, and I'll be back in a minute. So okay. Welcome, Dave and Colby. Y'all take it away.
Good evening tonight. This is Miner Dave. And nice to meet you. For the other, Mike, I guess is your name. I would like to thank Vincent for this opportunity he's been giving me for this show. It's given me, I've learned a lot on this end of it. I've always used to just listen to the radio, and so now I see how hard it is really to put it together. And so I thank Vincent for this opportunity. And I'm going to let you take it away, Kobe.
All right. So, somebody's got their mic on. If you're not talking, I appreciate you mute. Okay, so we've got Agenda 21, which has been a decent topic we've discussed in many different relations to anything that's going on. The biggest things we're seeing right now is that we're having issues with everyone being influenced by this in a different direction against one another. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we're probably going to have as a country, which I know a lot of the people on this listening broadcast don't believe in borders, and that's understandable. But at the same time, with a welfare state, one of our issues with borders is an issue that's crossed history with the downfall of the greatest of empires. And we are by no means the greatest of empires. We've gone a long way with things that are not of the nature we want to be, and more of the nature we don't want to be, because persuasion in multiple directions based on lies, based on propaganda, and based on many things. And Dave, at that point, I know you had a lot of really good things to say about Germania as it was, and Rome as it was back in the day. So you want to take it away there?
Yes. If you go back to the Roman days, 5th century, when Rome fell to the barbarians, that would be what I'm descendant of. If you look throughout history, the way the elite control everything is they build an empire up and they collapse it. And it first starts off as a republic, then it moves into an oligarchy, then it moves into a dictatorship, and from there it flows into being a kingship. See, the barbarians fought against that, but they skipped a bunch of stuff when they created the Germanic rights of kings. And so this is where you have different tribal groups. Well, rather than call them tribes, let's call them families, as they are, because if you look at the royal family, they're all related. And they intermarry. They marry their cousins. They do this because they want to keep their bloodlines to their own family. And so this is why we've got a lot of problems with the elite, because they bred insanity into their family lines. And I don't care if it's Asian or if it's Germanic, if it's Roman, it doesn't matter. They all run on pagan ideals, and they take something good and they twist it into something really horrible. And so that's why what they're doing here is they decided they wanted to create a republic. So they created the Republic of the United States with about 5% of the population that actually fought in the War of Independence. You got to realize, we call it independence. The British call it a civil war. Well, it's because it was civil war, because it was their American cousins that they were fighting with. See, most of the people that have British descent, you can almost bet if you're over here, you're related to the royal family, but because of the way our system is, we broke the cycle. We don't allow cousins to marry unless they're way down the line. You have to marry somebody. That's why you have a marriage license. That's so they don't breed morons or hemophiliacs. So basically, we're dealing with the same old thing, and nothing's ever changed. It's just whether you think you're free or are you really free. And it starts in the mind. And this is where you have to act as if you're free, but first you have to have a thought that it's free, and then you have to get over the fear that somebody's going to do something to you because you have an unpopular opinion. You may have an opinion I don't agree with, but if somebody tells you don't have a right to say it, I say, no, you have a right to say it. I have a right to criticize it. Without being you can learn to disagree without being disagreeable. This means is you keep things civil, and the elites don't want you to do that. They want us fighting because, see, they're afraid of us because there's more of us than there is of them. Yeah. They're actually a small force. And I'll let it go to whoever wants to speak now, Colby or Mike. And I'll mute up.
Everybody talk at once. Mikey, I think that thought that he's talking about, having that thought first, I think that may be something that you may like to speak on. Or not.
Well, you know what? I just came upstairs.
Okay. There he is.
I just heard Mikey, and I was like, uh-oh, I got to get up there. But anyway, I'm sorry. I was upstairs. What did I miss?
Gabe was talking about thoughts, but let's go ahead and you missed it, so we can't go into it if you didn't hear it. But
it's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll listen to the replay.
No problem. So, Kelby, would you like to add in?
I think it's something we're seeing with division now. I mean, we have a lot of people, even that we've had on the show, that have gone from anarchists to supporting government and different issues, and a lot of it's our issues in America. I mean, we're raised on not actually understanding truth, on believing whatever we're told, and regurgitating. I mean, that is our entire life. Is we are raised from children to do what we're told and then regurgitate by school systems and parents and everything. And I mean, the doing what you're told by your parents part, that's a moral thing. I mean, your parents are supposed to, guide you in life and help you out. That's understandable. But the regurgitation factor that we have in America nowadays is so inept that people won't believe truth when it's presented in front of them. They don't care if you're telling the truth or not. They'll call you crazy because you are presenting the truth, even when you show them factual information. I mean, how many people look up Agenda 21 and then say it's a conspiracy? You show them the link, you give them the link to the United Nations website, and they say, hey, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. Where's your tinfoil hat? No, we don't have tinfoil hats. We actually look into things. Most of us aren't educated. In my opinion, from the people that I've known, most of us are self-educated. I mean, and a huge argument for that is, Einstein was self-educated for a long time. So was Tesla. There's a lot of people that were very, very smart people. And I think that the issue that we have is they weren't always self-educated. So don't confuse my meaning with, they went to better places later. But yes, original self-educated people. We have this issue in America where if you don't have a quote-unquote doctorate, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, you are not educated. And it's in this day of information sharing, it's completely ridiculous to ever think that someone might not actually see the full picture before you do. It's completely ridiculous. Information passes so quickly that the news media can't keep up with things like Twitter and Facebook. And that is ridiculous. I mean, it just, you wouldn't expect that to happen. But it does happen that way. Our mainstream media can't keep up with us on Facebook. How does that happen? It's because the dissemination is here, and that's the problem. That's why we have the United Nations proposing how they're going to take guns. That's why we have all this DHS issue with how they're being over-militarized and so on and so forth. The problem is every single government right now in the last 5 years, there's how many governments have been overthrown in the last 5 years by revolt by the people? Now, many of them have been funded by the U.S. as a coup, and many people know that or don't know that, regardless. But that's the situation. Is we have so many people that are becoming aware that they understand that you can't stop a thought. The people will continue to think, and they will continue to question, and that is their purpose. That's what we're supposed to do. And in our country, we're supposed to do that tenfold. I mean, yesterday, or the day before, we had a president sign a sanction on Russia, which, according to my beliefs, is an act of war again, and then we have a jet go down. But the sanction on Russia was actually backdoor gun control, and a lot of people aren't seeing it that way. You just restricted a multitude of weapons that are based out of Russia, like the Sega shotgun, which is a pretty decent auto shotgun. There's a lot of better ones, but and the Kalashnikovs. Anything Kalashnikov made is no longer coming in. It is done. We had sanctions proposed that also restricted gun control. Wow, it's funny. Russia and us seem to be having this big issue since Cold War, but we let go of it until Afghanistan. Why do we have the issue with Russia? Because they found out what we did in Afghanistan. And now we're back in Cold War with Russia, where sanctions and you better not do that is the problem. We have a huge escalational problem, and we have people that are of the same mindset taking sides on both sides, most because they're actually not educated in what's going on, or they haven't dig deep enough into the rabbit's hole, quote unquote, as we would call it. And
two people were messing with me.
What was that?
Sorry, that was my little one.
That's beautiful.
That was little one, sorry.
Not a problem.
But yeah, I had my little one walk in and hand me a soda. So, but that's the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of us that are not actually digging into what's going on, and they've never dug in the rabbit hole. And the second you say it, you're crazy. You're completely crazy. But the problem is once they finally find out the reality, are you the crazy one or they?
Right.
And back to whoever.
Hello?
We're still here.
I'm here. This is Dave.
Yeah, Mikey's up here.
Yeah, we're all good.
Yeah. I just want to
Dave,
mention...
I'm still here too. This is Jay Cynthia. I'm still here listening to you guys.
Let's calm down now.
I'm over here. I'm posting, getting ready to post here in about a half an hour for Double Crossed Radio coming up. Drew David and
Is that Vinny?
Yep, and probably Colby. So tonight they're going to follow up discussing public works projects and how they are used to steal money from the poor to line of the pockets of the well-connected rich. Not all rich people are bad, only the ones attached to the government teats. So that comes up here in about 45 minutes right after What Matters Worldwide. And y'all stick around. I'm going to mute back up. I'm going to finish doing this edit for one of my favorite shows on UCY. Also, big plug for Double Cross Drew on Sundays, Off-Grid Journey, brand new. Let's see, I believe we're up to episode 6 will be coming up this Sunday. Again, Off-Grid Journey, fantastic job, Drew. Great interest. And that goes back to, providing for ourselves, being free. First of all, to be free, though, we need to exit the system. And if we try to throw in some wrenches in the cogs and shut it all that right down at one time, it's going to implode. So it's going to require us backing out some of the things we was talking about earlier, as far as our food. Very important. And using plants as our medicine. That's the way it used to be up until about 100 and something years ago when, this medical mafia, the FDA and the AMA, they all, just kind of took control. They took control of the education system and made doctors nothing more than pimps for the pharmaceuticals. So
the Mayo Clinic too. They were kind of in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All dirty treachery, and people involved. Now that's where the government and the corporation come together into this corporatocracy. And
David's on this in a little bit right now.
Yeah. Okay, you guys go ahead and take it back, and I'm going to go back over to finish.
I have something to say about corporate...
Bill Gates, go for it.
Bill Gates. Let me explain something about Bill Gates. Bill Gates has sold all but 1% of his stock in Microsoft. He believes it's ran its course, and it's probably going to go away because they quit a lot of the old programs supporting him. And every now and again, they send out a thing that explodes your operating system because they want you to go to the new system, which is Microsoft 8. All the ones prior to that are going away. Well, that system can be hacked by anybody. It's full of bugs, and then he took his money out of Microsoft and put it in Monsanto's, and he put it in Sangen. He's got probably $23 billion in total in both companies, in investments or shares in stock. I'm not sure which, because you get different things. But see, they could be different years. He could be buying it and selling it, and it takes a little bit of forensic work. I haven't had the time to get all the way into it, but he's said in his own words, to reduce the population, he's going to do it through vaccines and GMOs. So I would say that anybody that wants to know what they're eating, we should demand that they label these products. If they're so proud of it and if it's so good, what are they afraid of? Label it.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is J. Cynthia still. For your listeners, I was wondering if you might briefly explain the two things that you just mentioned, because I don't think everyone's as educated as you are, and we would all like to know. I think you call it Sanjos and Menjos. Can you explain what those are for people who don't know and who are listening in and want to know?
I got you, dude. It's Monsanto and Syngenta.
Thank you.
Syngenta is he mispronounced. It's a very odd-looking word, so I can understand completely. Syngenta is a Swedish company we actually have here in Southern Oregon, where we're at, actually, that is banned in Sweden. Bill Gates doesn't even just dabble in these things. He dabbles all over the place, and he always does it in the guise of the good, or what he's going to do for the good. But he actually, kind of like Rocket Hub that we use now, did a lot of things back in the day. One of them was geoengineering. Another one was Monsanto, which was the seed manufacturer, was also the manufacturer of Roundup and the manufacturer of Agent Orange and so on and so forth. They've done a lot of bad things over the years. They've never been held to account. And in fact, presidentially, we've had, I think, 2 presidents now that have signed similar acts to where they're kind of protected. I might be incorrect, but I do believe it. I know Barack Obama himself has actually signed bills that protected them and then appointed people that used to work for them as heads of different organizations in the federal government. One of which being the FDA, which is not a good thing.
Right.
Especially, and this is the problem, we're talking to people that have destroyed veterans, for one, have destroyed many people in other regions of the world with their products, and now we're allowing them to just go frivolously through our country and allow seeds that if you grow them on your farm and they cross-pollinate through wind blowover, you are no longer as an organic farmer, so you lose your farm. We actually had a case here where a guy lost $50,000 for a year's crop, and he was a small-time organic farmer. The crop of sugar beets or something that we grow locally, I believe it was sugar beets, I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that, got cross-contaminated, and his was supposed to be organic, which means that's high money on the market. If you grow organic stuff right now, you make a lot of money on the market. You really do. As a food grower.
I know. I have organic growers on my show all the time. I understand. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
As a county, we actually passed pretty much a tax levy to where the point, because of our standing county law here, we have banned GMOs. Now, the repercussions have not actually come to pass yet, so we won't see what really happens with it until a while down the road. But, it was a smear campaign where millions of dollars were coming into one single small county in Jackson County. And I believe, I'm probably incorrect in this number, but I think we're around 750,000 people in this valley area in this county.
And you're up in Oregon,
I believe that's right? Roger, we're in Southern Oregon. We're the closest to the border. I think it's around 750,000 people.
Right.
But
you must be used to talking on ham radio, Roger.
Negative, sir. We don't talk on ham radio.
Hey,
actually, we've been incorporating a lot, but
Mikey had to jump out, and he said to be sure to tell y'all thanks. He really enjoyed it, and he is definitely going to come back on because we have a lot to talk about. Now, a big shout out to Down Under for Dingo Dave. So Dave Druitt down in Australia, him and Tim. Now, I sent you guys a friend request. Okay. He says, how do we do that? Hold on. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Dave. Let me grab my link. Maybe you can jump on for a listen. Let's see back. And of course, I can't type and talk. Okay, so...
Well, you know, that's okay, because I have something that you guys, I think you would love to discuss, and I'm going to have to leave soon. I think that you guys, right now, I don't know if you're familiar with me, I have a show here on UCY TV as well, Cancer Kickers, because I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I cured myself with alternative medicine within 8 months, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years. But what's interesting is that you guys are talking about thought. We're talking about what Bill Gates, and I don't know if you're going to even like the female perspective, but I'm just going to give it to you. So it's so interesting to me, like what you guys are saying about what Bill Gates is doing and all of the arguing and the fighting that's going on amongst men and so on and so forth. I have to be honest, I didn't know it at the time, but my journey through cancer was not really cancer. I was a strict atheist. I was born a strict Catholic and then was an angry Catholic girl, hated Catholicism. And so I was an atheist for 10 years and then got my death sentence. And my journey through cancer, again, was not about cancer, really. It was really about my question, what happens to me when I die? And what is that? What is that? What's going to happen to me? And it was a search for my God, if there was one, because I didn't know at that point if there was. Certainly not for me. So many horrible things happened to me. I thought, if there is this God that everyone's talking about, he hates me. So why do I bother with him? Why do I worship him? Through, and still being, please forgive me, but very programmed by Catholicism at that time. So I felt as though God had turned his back against me, so why continue to worship? So I'm going through this thing called terminal cancer, 2 years to live, fighting for my life, and I realize in the midst of it, I'm not even fighting, what am I fighting for? I'm fighting to find who I am and what my existence is, what this God is, and if it exists, he, she, whatever. And it's so interesting for me to listen to. And I have been approached now because of the information and because of the radio show. Unbelievable, some of the leaders, and I only mean leaders in the fact that billions and billions of dollars have approached me because they're in their 80s and they're facing the same question now and wanting to know what, coming to terms with their, mortality. One very present in the news who I've known for years has approached me, knowing that their time is coming. Who was it that said there's only two things that are imminent, taxes and death? And so...
It was P.T. Barnum or W.C. Fields.
Right, thank you.
Oh, yes, my little chickaday.
Yeah. And so I just want to leave you with this conversation because it's very interesting to me as a woman looking at someone like Bill Gates and, the pharmaceutical companies running around trying to control all of these men, as many as they can. And I'm not sure why, because they're not going to escape death. None of us are. I mean, with certain products that I have on my show and certain physicists that are on my show, life extension, it's looking like if you can hang on for the next 10 years, with these physicists that I have on my show, you can easily go to 120 and remain, where you are now. But sooner or later, it's imminent. And I'm just very interested from a man's point of view what Bill Gates is doing, trying to control all these people, because it's not going to buy him more time, and look at Steve Jobs. I mean, I do that in my speeches about Steve Jobs. Death happens.
Go on.
So you're looking for an explanation.
Well, I don't know, but I would love to. I think you should share.
Let me check this clip real quick and make sure it says exactly what I think it says.
I'd like to answer that question.
Go ahead, Dave.
I would like to. What I'm saying is Steve, Bill Gates is evil, incarnate, and it's coming out in everybody that's been bought off or corrupted. We're going through what I call an evolution of truth and what it is and what your reality of your truth is. So I got a clip. Creator, and I think the Creator is moving us into a higher dimension because people are changing. There's more people like me now than there used to be. When I was a kid, I asked too many questions. They gave me Dexedrine and it made me catatonic, so I wouldn't ask any questions.
I bet.
Because they call me HDD or hyperactive. They branded me with that because I have a high energy level, and they couldn't keep up with me. I think I was born before my time because I don't know a lot about computers, but I know this. I can make them sing with getting stuff out there that 30 years ago they would have never gone anywhere. They would have just buried me. But see, now they can't bury me because I was born to use this to find what I need.
Well, I would agree you're born way before your time, but I think you were born a great teacher for all of us.
Definitely got a gift there, David.
Yeah.
I hope so, because I don't know how I know all this. It's like it's been downloaded into my head from somewhere. I think my mother. I just didn't know it because she used to play records of educational stuff while I was sleeping.
That was a great help, but don't you think that you're downloading from Ultimate Intelligence, which is a non-physical energy?
Yes, I do. Yes, I believe it's coming from what Tess said. It's the ether, the part we can't see, the dimensions we can't see. See, I was tested for the military, but because of certain family things, which I think it was either my mother or my father, had Ronald Reagan sign an executive order keeping me out of the service because I was signed to go in as an officer, but my ASVAB test showed me as a four-dimensional thinker in, at that time, a two-dimensional world. It's now a four-dimensional world, and the two-dimensional thinkers are being shed.
You've had a clip.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna ear phone real quick.
Well, I would absolutely agree with you about your thinking, and I feel as though you found a way to tap in to ultimate intelligence, which is non-physical, which everybody did. I loved earlier. It was so much fun. I wish Mikey was still here because he was talking about Tesla and Einstein. I use Tesla's technology of the argon xenon gas tubes as part of my regimen to cure myself of cancer. And I think it's very funny that I just read recently in an old newspaper clipping, they asked Einstein, like, when he was alive, how does it feel to be the most intelligent man alive? And he says, I don't know, ask Tesla. And I thought that was very funny, but I think that we're now coming to understand that you can tap in to, that there is like this, as the ethers or whatever you want to call it, word labels are always difficult because they never quite serve 100%, but we do the best that we can with them, but that you're tapping into this ultimate intelligence that exists. Every thought that ever has been thought still exists. And, you can tap into that as Tesla and Einstein and tap into these masters, and we have access to it, and it's just a matter of knowing how to do, and clearly, Dave, you've figured that out.
Colby was the one that was talking about Tesla and Einstein. Silly.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I mentioned tests, but anyways, I wanted to say is what we have here is we have the power of your subconscious runs 95% of your of everything that your body, everything that happens in your head, and that 5% is your conscious. Now, most people can tap it if their dreams. If they dream, they can run scenarios in their dreams to work out their conscious period if they can do that. But what we have here is we have a communication that's faster than the speed of light, and Einstein's theory is not quite right because there was one thing he forgot, because he was a three-dimensional thinker in a two-dimensional world. His formula was energy equals
the mass times the constant squared.
Well,
E
that's
equals
not
mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared.
Yeah, there's one other thing he forgot. And when you come up with, when you think four-dimensionally, you would add in velocity, because remember, everything in the universe is moving. None of it never stops. It's what you call a perpetual machine.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're talking about momentum, right?
I'm talking about momentum. And every action has an opposite and equal reaction.
Yes. Yes.
And I learned that from my mom's brother, Uncle George. He was stationed at White Sands between 1944 and 1947. He was there officially as Cypher, where they did codes, but he was really a mathematician. But he was born a farmer, became an engineer. He designed the guidance system for the Polaris missile system, and when he decided not to make weapons, he didn't make weapons of war. He made the delivery system be guided, and they used it everywhere. And Lockheed Martin ended up with it, and they put it in the French Exocet missile. And so I think my parents kept me out of the service. It was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because I would have been making weapons of mass destruction, and it's better that I don't do that. And so I've learned it as an adult because I see things differently, because I'm 54 years old and I've had a lot of different experiences that I thought the average person had growing up. But my brother, one of my older brothers, told me, he said, "Dave, you have had an extraordinary life. And we all have, but it's not common."
Right.
So I didn't know that, and so as we ADD people are coming of age, and the younger ones that they sent off to war, we have to be there for them, because they're victims. The soldier is a victim because they're given the flag waving stuff to go kill people. They go kill people, and then when they come back, they're a hero for 5 minutes, and then they're dumped into the dump of the VA system. The best thing a vet could do would be to run from them guys. Remember, anybody says, "I'm here for the United States government, I'm here to help you," well, what you do is either you hit them with a 2x4 or you run, because they're not here to help you. They're here to crush you, and because the federal government only knows one thing: force. And either you're gonna, and they don't like a person like me that can look them up in the eye, tell them no, and then they can't figure out why I can still say no, and why to this point, in 3 cases, now 4, they've spent $25 million against me, and I've spent maybe a few $100s. They don't understand how I can do that. Well, because my mom told me when I was a little kid that eat that, somebody in China is starving. Well, now you look at China, people in America are starving, and China's doing quite well. So I've learned to live on very little. I can do it. I don't like doing it, but I can do it. And I'm going to let Colby talk because I've talked more personal about myself over the years than I ever have. And Colby, why don't you take over for a little bit?
I just think from a female perspective, it's beautiful. And I love that you're being personal. And we love it and we appreciate it. And we really appreciate your information and everything that you have to give. I'm just curious about, like, on a pure physics level, if you would agree or disagree, and it doesn't matter to me, but I'm curious about when we look at frequency, because really the depth of life, everything is a frequency. The frequency of abuser and victim is the same frequency. It's just like, are you tipping to the left or are you tipping to the right? And I love that you say that for the veterans, because I've seen that, because I've worked at the VA hospital for a long time, you know, just run away from it. I completely agree with that, because you're running away from that whole victim abuser frequency and learning to rise to a higher frequency where there is none of that.
Yeah, I can touch on this one. Honestly, I got involved in politics and radio because I personally had PTSD. I wasn't a trigger man, which honestly is what I'm best at. But if we get personal, I'll get personal. I don't care. I mean, when I was a soldier, I mean, I'm really good on a trigger. That's good as a soldier, quote unquote. But you have a different job. I chose medevac as a Black Hawk crew chief over playing with miniguns and playing with 240 hotels and, you know, M60s, you know, and I've done both on civilian side when we're home, but I haven't done both in the desert. I've been in the desert twice, and I went over there every time as medevac because I would choose to be medevac because the point is I don't have to kill anyone, I have to save lives. That's my job. I might have to call in an airstrike, but it's because I'm there to save lives. And they are our lives. They are our people, and if it honestly, as a veteran, I seriously implore you, think about this for a second. How many poverty people are soldiers? How many of them only come from poverty? Back in the day, I shared these things all the time, and I never actually got the meaning until I got out of the Army. I used to play their music all the time. Bad Religion, a great song, Let Them Eat War. I've spoken about this a couple times, I think, on the radio now. But, I mean, it's the truth. When a country has a problem with economics, what they do is they turn to war, because war feeds a machine. War feeds poor people to the essence of war, which is death, and other issues. Now, those that choose not to be the ones that are actually conducting the violence, that are choosing to, even Afghan nationals or Afghan soldiers, in my experiences, want to sit there and actually, you know, take care of those people and make sure they're okay. Those are the ones you need to look to, because they're the ones that have seen both sides of everything. And it doesn't matter to most people, but I mean, I tell you right now, it's not even just myself. I've talked to other people that were soldiers that I was in with, and when we were over there, what we saw was, this is coming to our nation, and our choices will depict whether this comes to our nation or not. We will be a third world country at one point.
Right. I have a question for you, though. Just to backtrack a little bit, I would just love to hear what you have to say, because it's so interesting, because I've traveled through so many different cultures and belief systems and, you know, points of view, and I respect them all. But so many, whatever their belief system, religion, philosophy, most of everyone that I've run past believe there's no such thing as death, that spirit is eternal, that we continue. So what is all this fighting about and saving lives if there's no such thing as death?
I'd like to answer that if I can.
Go for it, Dave.
What we have here is you were talking about frequencies, and I know something about this because my uncle designed a frequency machine to heal with. He made it analog. You can buy that system now because he gave it away open source. But he designed it so you could heal a toothache. You could sit under this thing and actually make the toothache go. I
think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. That's awesome.
My uncle designed that system, and he gave it away because he didn't think somebody should profit on healing.
Neither did Edgar Casey. That's why he did what he did.
Right. There's certain things, if you have certain God-given abilities, You're not to abuse it. You're supposed to get your daily bread, but you're not supposed to abuse it for profit. God gives you these gifts to use, and what I like to say, an open source way for a modern term. We should be open for ideas that are not in the current lexicon, meaning you should be willing to try them to see if they work, meaning think outside the box. And the problem is everybody's in a box, and you got each box arguing with other boxes.
Yes.
Instead of seeing things as a circle, that everything is. Everything runs in a circle, and once you get out of the box and in a circle, and then if you watch, I was watching at Kobe's bubbles from his aerator for his fish pond, and I don't care what it was, there would be bubbles coming up, and they would gather together. One bubble would absorb another bubble, another one, until it became so big, it got so big, it collapsed of its own weight and exploded.
Wouldn't that be like matter, law of attraction, as Einstein told us?
Yes, law of attraction. The opposites attract each other, and the seams repel. And so if you're looking down at electromagnetic field level, you have a positive and a negative.
Right.
And you don't get electricity unless you do have a positive electron and a negative electron.
Right.
And so that was another field I worked in. I used to work for the power utility company as a groundman. That meant I dug the ditches if there was one to be dug with a shovel. So, but I learned a lot. I'm an expert at building grounding grids, or what you would call a Faraday cage.
Right.
I think everybody should build one in. If they're building a brand new house, they should put a Faraday cage in their house for several different reasons. Because you can keep the bad electromagnetic fields out, and then if you around your windows, you could put the right kind of magnets around them where they'll repel radio frequencies, so that it's like these guys that are wearing aluminum hats, well, they're wearing them for a very good reason, because they're wearing a Faraday cage on their head. It does block radio signals. These guys could hear radio signals. They just didn't know it. If you know it, it won't drive you crazy. I learned a long time ago when I was hearing radio frequencies, because I lived by a microwave tower. I don't live by them now because they scream in my ears. I know what they are, but because I can hear them. But not everybody can hear them, because not everybody has the same hearing. Not everybody has the same eyesight. We all have our various disabilities.
Or abilities.
Or ability. Because, see, I seen a man with Down syndrome that had a dream on Facebook the other day. Can't remember his name, but he's got a restaurant, and he's living the life he wants to live. And I say to the Forest Service, I want to be a miner. Why don't you leave me alone to do what I do? I'm not going to hurt anything. I'm not going to hurt my neighbor. You're my neighbor. I'm not going to hurt you. So why do you got to hurt me? Why do you got to put me in jail when I'm just exercising my property rights? And why do you think you have control over me? Is it because you're anal? That's the only thing I can think of it is. Because, see, I have no desire to control you or you or you. I just want to be left alone. I went out in the wilderness because I wanted to get out of town. And what do? They want to drag me back in town. Well, that's not a good place for me. I do better.
And on that point, I think we've got a video clip that we can share from Bill Gates to the rest of the world that will make a really big difference, and we'll share that right now.
8 billion people, that's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. Because we could could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
$10 billion over the next 10 years to make it the year of the vaccines. What does that mean exactly?
Well, in this decade, we believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. We could cut the number of children who die every year from about 9 million to half of that if we have success on it. And the benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth, it really allows the society a chance to take care of itself once you've made that intervention.
Reducing the population growth.
Yeah, how do you get save more children and reduce population at the same time?
Save more. How do you get that? And here's the problem: is in the last 10 years, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has actually gone into Common Core, which is re-educating our children and actually putting them more towards a socialist-based or communist-based economy, where your children are pretty much being data mined from the time they come into school, which they want at about 2 or 3 years old now, so they can teach them how they want to teach them, till the time they get to high school and go into college. They're pretty much like NBA sponsors. They will come in, they will say, yep, there's a smart one, let's fund this one. We're taking him with us.
What do they do when they got one that sees?
But that's the thing, is it's so diversely. We're going to reduce the population. We're going to reduce the population seriously through vaccinations, education, and healthcare. You're going to reduce the population. Funny enough, who funded Obamacare? Who funded Planned Parenthood? Who funded the United Nations? Who funded gun control? Who hasn't funded anything that has come from the United Nations standpoint besides Bill Gates? Why? Because they fund the United Nations. And we're stuck with all of these things that we are told are good for us, but they aren't actually doing any good. Honestly, I had a daughter that, when I got to the Army in 2010, didn't have vaccinations for 3 years. The second she got vaccinations, she was sick every 2 flippin' weeks all year. She'd been sick once a year before that. When I was in the Army, we had to actually test the N1H1 flu vac. We were told that if we did not take it, even though it was a test, we would get court-martialed. This is the life soldiers lead. They get out, we walk illegals across our border in buses that are children from war-torn nations that we have produced because of our drug war, because it is profitable to send drugs up there, and we do nothing about it. But there's also the North American Union, which is working really well right now. The Obama administration, right, who Kerry promotes gun control for. We are walking, even as anarchists that don't believe in a border, and I'm not an anarchist personally. I'm more of a constitutional conservative libertarian style person, but I believe in a border. I believe that sturdy fences make good neighbors. I honestly believe that our efforts that I participated in Afghanistan and along our border to eradicate marijuana, or in our country that I actually participated with to eradicate marijuana, would have been better served helping the people below us. But we never do it. Why don't we do it? And at that point, I'll give it back to anyone that wants it, because honestly, I don't agree with any of it. I served in 2 different war zones, and the second one was a joke by the time I got there. Now it's a hell zone, because our administrations don't do anything to help anyone. All we want is destabilization, and it's ridiculous. And we have anarchists walking hand in hand with these people. It's absurd. Back to whoever.
I'd like to answer that. What we have here is we have an agenda, and you were just what they call can fodder for the agenda, because they have to make hamburger, they have to feed it meat, and that's the way they treat our veterans. Is a commodity. They don't call it. They used to call it personnel. Now they call it. What do they call it? Human resources. Well, if you look up under Black's Law 2nd edition, you'll find out that human means a beast of burden or a mining slave. See, everybody's wanting human rights is because humans don't have rights. They never have. That's why.
You're jumping deep in there, Dave.
What was that?
You're jumping a little bit deep in there, man. That's more sovereignty, and I understand it, but you're jumping deep in there. Go a little shallower.
All right, I'd like to add in just a little bit. I don't know how that we can expect anybody that creates the problem to fix it. And government is not what it appears. It's not what is defined. It's the bedfellow of the corporations, and government is man. I just can't imagine wanting anybody to build a fence around me. Fence goats out. Don't fence them in.
Well, and Vincent, I can completely concur with you. But if I were to send my three children down to Mexico right now, would I ever see the light of day? No, I would be seen as a sex slave trafficker, and that's probably what I get charged with.
Well,
and then I would never see anything but a prison cell unless it was a shower where what would happen to me.
Well, really there's obviously some nefarious means behind all this, but I'm going to tell you, somebody was saying earlier, Guatemala's all good and great. My former sister-in-law is from Guatemala. I went to work at 16, quit school, and I've spent my life with friends of Mexicans and Central Americans and people all around the world. I love people. It's my opinion that if I was there and the things got so bad that I might, I could imagine. What about like Moses being put in the river by his mother? Back in the days of Egypt. Same type thing. Was she sacrificing?
Vincent?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What would you do? Would you send your children away?
I would.
Or would you revolt against an improper?
Depends on how bad it was.
You would revolt.
I'm not gonna go out there and add to their cause by standing up in a violent revolution, and because that only plays into their hands. So I'm in revolt right now. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here on radio, is because I am in revolt, and I think the government and the way the world is revolting. In fact, hey guys, we're going to come up here to the end of the hour here in a couple of minutes, and before we do finish up, I'd like to say, man, this has been a great broadcast. Fantastic. Blew right by. Even though I knew I was probably going to get knocked off by trying to add caller, I think at least it was a learning experience and knew what to do next time. I'd like to remind everybody to stay tuned for Double Crossed Radio. Again, talking about public works projects and how they used to steal money from the poor. This goes right back into the government. Piss on the government. They're all crooks, and I have no support for none of them. They're all liars. So,
can I have 2 seconds?
Go ahead.
If you guys are on here as broadcasters and you have anything that is not Linux protected or Mac protected, get Zone Alarm. It's free. It's out there. Malwarebytes is out there also. I'm not punning them. I'm not promoting them. But I'm telling you what, I've seen a better output since I put them on my computer on this station. So get it if you can, and report it to other people.
Cool. Also, big shout out and thanks to Jaja playing us out Radioactive. Jordan Page is going to intro Double Crossed with Listen. Fantastic show. Y'all stay tuned. Come to UCY.tv. Explore some of the other hosts here. We have, I think, the very best network on air. And to Zachariah LaRusi from overseas. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. We got a couple of minutes here. Hey, he would like to hear about the massacre of the Gazans in the next show, and he says, God bless. Inshallah. Love and peace, y'all. We're out. Thanks,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Thanks, Dave. Jay Cynthia. Mikey. Kobe. Late.
Democrats, Republicans, your information's jumbling. The USA is crumbling. Y'all sit back, dumb as shit. The mass inflation, the home invasions, the CPS is coming to snatch your babies. These confiscations, the conversations, they're operating within the zones we traded. We're in the matrix, now we're totally raided. They infiltrated, finally the devil gave in. If you can't hear me, then pump up the volume. McDonald's, Bin Laden, Osama, Obama, bring up something real. Legalize marijuana. Everything on a bong hit is as blunt as Madonna. Radioactive, intergalactic, counterattacking.